is at the end of the path. You can't miss it.
Oh, but a storm is fast approaching. Can't you take us the rest of the way?
Oh, sorry, miss. I won't go no closer to Castle Einstein than this. None of the other villagers will either, except for the few willing to work for the doctor. But if you ask me, they're all touched in their noggin, even if they are my own kin. You couldn't pay me enough to set foot in that place.
I'm Lance DeRose, and I'm the theater director at Lincoln High School. I have been at Lincoln High School now for 13 years, and the production that we worked on this spring was The Werewolf's Curse, or Hair Today, Gone Tomorrow. This show is a spoof of the 1930s Universal horror films, and I kind of use that term loosely because the playwright took a great number of liberties with those sort of classic films, and we again took some more liberties with his script. Maybe that's not necessarily kosher, but the kids and I had a lot of fun, and the audiences definitely had a lot of fun with those liberties that were taken. When we select a show at Lincoln High School, what we try to do is try to find a balance in our year in terms of the types of productions that we do. Earlier this year we had done a rather heavy piece, a musical by the name of Les Miserables, and so we knew we wanted to balance that out with a production piece that would be not as heavy and a little more of a fun experience for people, something that was light and humorous.
But hopefully with Dr. Einstein's help I'll be able to resist going through the change.
Dr. Einstein, Mr. Harry Pate, and Miss Etta Greenleaf. Welcome to Castle Einstein. I hope I might be of help with your problem, Mr. Pate.
Oh, so do I, Dr. Einstein, and please, call me Harry.
Yes, thank you so much, Doctor.
You're very welcome. My Miss Greenleaf, what lovely hands you have.
Oh.
Strong yet delicate.
Oh, my.
One of the important things in putting together a show is thinking about what you have for talent. And will the script that you've chosen work with the students that you have available to work with? Now, you can get yourself into trouble with what they call pre-casting a show, but I like to think of it in terms of, do I really have the talent, whether they audition or not, or whether they really work or not in a show in that whole process. And so after we had decided, or I had decided on using Werewolf's Curse, we go through the process of getting the royalties paid and securing the rights to do the performance, thinking about which venue we'll be working in here at Lincoln High, because we have both the auditorium, which is a much larger venue, and we have the Little Theater, which is a much smaller, more intimate venue. This production really was chosen because we could do it in the Little Theater and make it work within that venue, both technically and artistically.
Fast approaching. Can't you take us the rest of the way in your wagon?
Sorry, miss, I won't go no closer to Castle Einstein than this. No one else in their village will either, except for the few willing to work for the doctor. If you ask me, they're touched in their noggin, even if they are my own relatives.
Casting of a production next to finding a script to work with, I think, are the two biggest challenges for directors and probably the two most difficult things to do. I probably read 20 scripts before we decided on Werewolf's Curse. And then that whole auditioning process with students is one of those things that is very difficult as a director. Sometimes it's easy because you'll have a student that will come in and they'll just fill the role automatically. And then there'll be other times when you're just going, how are we going to do this? How's this going to work out? And what's really going to work with this production? But those things really sort of evolve over time. Sometimes casting requires 2 or 3 callbacks.
Very nice. Help you.
Can we please do that?
That's really
so
good.
good.
Okay, time timing worked out.
Yeah, we have to work the timing. Once we have the door unit, that'll be much easier to deal with.
I think it'll be done and then...
After the initial read-through, then it's simply a matter of taking the show apart. Sometimes we do that chronologically. Sometimes we do that by types of scenes, whether it's a small group scene or a large group scene. Really, whatever fits the production best. Now with this show, The Werewolf's Curse, we spent a lot of time developing the characters for the play, because the characters really are the core. There isn't a lot of real in-depth storyline in this production, but the characters are what makes the show fun. So it's just playing with it some more, so that you're making sure that you hit the right ideas and hit the words and that type of thing. Yes, Ivory.
Have you ever tried drinking human blood?
Sure.
Once. It was a fiasco.
You'll come in and...
My father was
between the
very
two
upset that I
wall
didn't
units.
take after him. On my 18th birthday, he caught a milkmaid and brought her home. He tried to make me bite her neck. The best I could do was raise a little hickey. It was so embarrassing. After that, he disinherited me, and I've had to work all my debt. That's why I hooked up with Professor Wonder. I have no money.
That hasn't changed. None of us do.
Okay, one thing, Zach, when you're doing the line about the little hickey, that should get the laugh. And so we have to kind of play that so that's the punchline. Because right now it all just kind of, nah, I don't think that's going to help that to have you guys reaching your neck, because he's talking about this other woman thing. And even though it's a bad joke, hopefully the audience will go, oh.
I think the All My Death thing is funny too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
My Death.
What I was doing was when I said the sentence, he tried to make me bite her neck. Like I kind of went like slowing down with it, like just thinking back to it. And then like I'd say the hickey line like with anger. But do you think it would be more of a punchline if I said it like in a sad voice, like the best I could do was raise a little hickey.
I think that.
The best I could do was raise a little hickey. Yeah, I've got the wrong.
I won't go to the end.
But it really was a group effort. It wasn't just me saying this is what we're doing. The students really brought to the production a lot of creativity. And this cast of, all the casts I've worked with seem to have just an overabundance of creativity and excitement, exuberance, and just a ton of energy, which really showed in the performances.
Oh, Doctor, I fear I was bitten by a werewolf!
Most modern doctors and scientists would scoff at your claim, my boy. But I have no doubt that many creatures of folklore and mythology actually do exist. Even today. It is because of my belief in such beings that I was ostracized by my fellow practitioners, shunned from society, and driven from my homeland to this primitive country where I must conduct my experiments in peace.
You were driven?
Yes! My work is my life, Harry. That's what my work is all about. Life! In my laboratory, I have created a monster. Well, perhaps I will tell you later.
Opening night is always a scary time, because this is the first time that you really present the show to an audience. And you've prepared and you've done everything you think you can do, and you feel like you have a good show, but you've never really had it before a paying audience. And this production, again, of all the productions I've done, really was a unique duck in many ways, because it's not like great theatrical literature. It's tons of fun, and I put it in that category of dumb humor, but we had tremendous audience response to the show, and other teachers and directors and we just kind of scratched our heads and said, what is it with this production that people liked? But we felt like maybe people were just so stressed by just the day-to-day things of life that they needed something that they could just laugh at and really kind of check their brains at the door and have fun with.
Boom! I turned to dust.
Dust isn't so bad, as long as you can stay dry, which isn't easy in this weather.
Yeah, watch out for that puddle. Maybe Giganticus could carry you.
I can't. I've got a bad bag.
Will, some strong man you are.
You leave me alone!
We had never seen, at least I haven't in my 13 years here at Lincoln, seen a response like this to a show that we've done, really large show or small show. And we had such a response that we even added on an encore performance, which is one of the first times that's happened in the 20 years I've been directing. One of the things that people overlook, I think, in a production are those technical aspects of a show. Because as a director, I have pretty much always done tech and artistic direction at the same time. So I really think when I look at a script in terms of both of those elements in my brain at the same time. And I really have a strong appreciation for the hard work that it takes, the technical side of theater to accomplish what they contribute to the show. And we have kids who are very, very dedicated to a certain degree of excellence with the technical aspects of the show. And even though we were in the little theater, we still had technical challenges. And sometimes it's the limits of a facility or its size that can create sort of or dictate what happens technically with a show. And even though we didn't have fire and smoke and lasers, that type of thing, there were still things to be concerned about: lighting effects, lightning, and how are we going to portray the lab, and different things like that. But the kids were very, very dedicated. They did a great job of even things like painting the set, even beyond the construction of the set as well. And then just simply making the show run smoothly, because there were a lot of transition times. And that's one of the things that, as a director, I really stress, that we have a show that runs smoothly and that we're not waiting for something to happen as an audience. And the kids are real good about that, and they work very hard to make transitions in the show and the running of the show to run very smoothly. People asked us, why didn't we do this show in the large theater, especially the people that were turned away on one of the nights. And as a director, it's nice to do things in different venues, and you can really never anticipate what your audience will be for a show. And in our wildest imaginations would we have anticipated the type of audience that we had for this production. So it was a choice of, we're going to do it in the little theater, we're going to do this production in this venue, and it sort of surprised us. It would have had a different feel and a different dynamic with the audience had it been in the large auditorium. The large auditorium is great for grand shows, big musicals, that type of thing. But for a show which has this type of intimacy, the little theater is really a nicer venue.
What in the world? The surprise I told you about? I love it.
We want to play with you!
Over my dead body!
Well,
Harry!
meat!
Oh!
No, let go of her. Don't let him bruise her lovely skin. There we go. Now the chicken leg, yes. Oh, meat! Meat!
My name is Andy Schnabel. I'm in 10th grade. I'm a sophomore, currently here at Lincoln High School. And I first I did a play for the Playhouse in 5th grade, but I kind of took a break from then, and I really seriously got into acting in about 8th grade, and I've been doing plays since then here at Lincoln, and I've done a few at the community Playhouse. So theater is my passion. Well, I played a character called Characters. We just, in the script it says doppelganger. It's kind of the joke because it's 7 different characters. And I played a man called Otto, who was a farmer, Olaf, who was the typical hunchback servant, of the crazy scientist, Frederick, who was the butler, Heidi, who is a French maid. Well, she wasn't French, but she had a French maid outfit. Frida, who was a really old woman who moved really slow. Brunhilde, who was the cook, who was rather large. And Hans, doppelganger, who was the constable of the local town.
You can, Constable.
The butler said he locked himself in his laboratory and he is not to be disturbed.
I think that the doctor has been disturbed for quite a while. The butler! Ye masked main man, cousin Frederick! Professor, that someone help me, please.
It was a little difficult, you know, because like you have to have, each character has to be really distinct and it has to be really different, because otherwise you're just going to have 7 different versions of the same character, you know. So you have to have a real difference to the your characters, and coming by that was a little hard because, you know, facial expressions, you can only do so many facial expressions and things like that, and, you know, accents, they all had Teutonic German, you know, accents, and so all except for Frederick, who was British.
The luggage. On top. Thank you, Frederick. Now, I think it's time we discuss the reason for your long journey here.
So, oh, and then we had this one scene where I played multiple characters, and I was on stage with multiple characters, and so what we did, you know, we had like this table, and we had all of the characters that I was playing in that particular scene laid out, and the joke was that Allie and Heather couldn't come, you know, my changers weren't there to change me, and so I had to do it all myself, so there's just this frantic. Yeah, well, it was, yeah, and it was different originally, because originally we just had me changing behind the curtain, and then I'd come out as a character, but Dee didn't think that was quite as funny as it could have been. So we changed it, right, and I basically stripped in front of the entire audience. I've heard quite a lot about that since then, and you know, so, but that was kind of fun, you know, because you just get to play around, and you know, it's just, I really had fun in this play because I could just play with my characters, you know, and they were so big and they were so, you know, broad and just really colorful characters, and I just had a lot of fun playing with them and different things we could do, and I don't know, it was a unique experience. I mean, like, not a lot of people get a chance to do this. And
hello, I'm Mike Harris. I'm a junior at Lincoln High School. I played Professor Wonder in this play. Let's see, I got into acting in 2nd grade, and I've been doing it since. I started out at the Community Playhouse. I've been doing plays at Lincoln since my freshman year. I think this is my 12th production at Lincoln. So that's my life goal, is make a living off of acting, if that's possible. But right now, let's talk about my character, Professor Wonder, who is the Carnival Troupe owner. The Carnival Troupe is just it's a shoddy Carnival Troupe filled with a bunch of people who have not really what they said they have. Like, the tattooed lady only has 1 tattoo, the bearded lady has a beard. Let's see. Giganticus, who's the strong man, isn't strong at all. The vampire can only drink fruit juice, and so I'm always trying to get more freaks, you could say, into it. And I'm trying to get some real ones out of Dr. Einstein, and he plans to sell me a wolf and some creatures. And so I plan to take advantage of that, making money, not giving the money to my troupe, and that's Professor Wonder is, that's what he does. He takes money, and he's conniving, and he's not very nice.
I know, but I want more. I won't be happy until I'm filthy rich. You're about to get your wish, Professor Wonder. Now, imagine the crowd you'll draw when you're able to show them a formerly pleasant, nice-looking young man who's transformed into a snarling, snapping beast of a man. A werewolf!
I took some characters off Moulin Rouge, some of the main characters. I just like to kind of put them together because there's a lot of evil and there's a lot of big carnival kind of people in Moulin Rouge. So I took a couple characters off of that, and then the rest was just from playing. I kind of found my character a little late into the process, but once I found it, I pretty much had it down. And I kept that for a couple weeks, just playing with it. Preparing, I just kept my voice low. I wanted to make sure I had a lot of energy, because I wanted to make sure that every time I came on, I had something different, or I was jumping on, or just being goofy. And that's what this whole play was about, was pretty much just having your own little shtick and set up lines and very easy comedy. Everybody gets it. And so I want people to remember this guy for being one of those goofy characters.
When I say she's not all there, I mean she's not all there. That's where you come in.
You can't be.
I can.
You won't.
I will. No, I won't. But Dr. Einstein will. He figures some fresh body parts is just what he needs to finish her up.
But that's murder.
Well, hardly. You'll still be alive when he gets through with you. Well, some of you will be.
Right now, theater in Sioux Falls is a little harder. The Playhouse is coming back, but it's not quite like how it used to be. And taking acting classes, I think, will help you a lot. Getting in as much as you can and seeing theater would probably be very important. There are many programs available for you to get into theater. High school theater is a lot of fun, but I'd suggest just trying out for everything you can, doing everything you can, getting in the arts, getting involved, even if it's not acting, and seeing as much as you can. Just being shown around theater and knowing different plays and having characters to pull out of your back by reading books and stuff like that, that'd be very good. So get involved.
While you're looking with that, I think I'll give you a hand with this, Olaf.
Oh, no, you don't.
Hi! Keep the money, you bully!
You'll be fine. When I came to that way earlier, the ceiling was about to collapse. See what I mean?
I'm Laura Whiteman, and I'm a senior here at Lincoln High School. As far as my theater background goes, I did some plays at the Sioux Falls Community Theater, and I did tech for one show. I ran the flies for Cinderella when I was in 8th grade, and I also was in the Hardy Boys in 8th grade, and it's kind of the first stuff I've done with theater. Participated in the one act, and I've done more acting than tech stuff. So being an assistant director for this spring show, The Werewolf's Curse, was different. It was a different experience, and it was a good one. I have no complaints. It was fun, and some of the things that I had to do were had to get food for Mr. DeRose and some of the actors if they couldn't leave before the performances. Me and the other assistant director, student director, Tim, we'd watch the play and we'd write down critiques for Mr. DeRose and write down our own critiques and give our ideas. And Mr. DeRose did listen to what we had to say a lot and took that into account. And so I feel that we did help out a lot with this play and kind of organizing stuff, and he didn't just brush off what we said as if we didn't know what we were talking about, and so that was nice.
My name is Tim Seiler. I'm a junior at Lincoln. I was also a student director for The Werewolf's Curse, as well as a stand-in or understudy, I guess you could say, for the Baron, Bitter on the Neck. For an additional performance we had added. Some other things that we did for assistant directing is we conducted some rehearsals sometimes. When DeRose was working on some blocking, Laura and I were maybe working on the Carnival Troupe and their entrances and figuring out their characters. Right away, once we picked the cast, there were some days when we had schools off, and we drove in at 8 o'clock in the morning, and we spent about 4 hours researching the 30s and looking at costumes and possible makeup options, and it was a long, long morning, but we learned all about these different carnival characters. Needless to say, once we got to the actual show, we completely threw out the fact that this play was supposed to be taking place in the 30s, and we just used whatever looked good. And I think part of being the assistant director is that was pretty much all that it was about, seeing something and deciding whether it was good or whether it was going to work or not for the audience.
My name is Matt Prelogger, and I've been involved with the theater here at Lincoln all 4 years. I'm in my senior year right now, and I've done somewhere around 12 or 14 shows all 4 years in loose count. And Mainly I've done tech work the past 2 years, focusing on lighting and lighting design, being a designer and programmer for the show and everything. For Werewolf's Curse, I did build 2 of the set pieces, and so it's not only lighting stuff that I focus on, because lighting stuff only comes into play, like we don't know what we're going to do yet until we start seeing the blocking of the show, seeing what's working. And so we start working on the programming of the show, focusing all that stuff about 2 weeks beforehand. Then we start cracking down. We start focusing the instruments in the theater where we need them, where we're lacking light, you know, just fill in areas, focus any specials we want. We had a special to kind of signify evil in the show where Professor Wonder and Dr. Einstein they had their satanic laugh, you know, and they were laughing. And so we lit them up with red, which will signify evil. And so that was a special which we highlighted on them.
Theater is an area where, you know, no matter what your talent is or what your interest is, you can really have a contribution to a production. There are so many different aspects. There's makeup, there's set design, there's the running of the show, there's lighting design, there's acting. And people look at the acting because the actors are the ones on the forefront, but really there are so many different aspects that make a show. And we really try to develop a community of individuals. Different shows require different levels of expertise. And sometimes you find out that a student has a real strong interest in, let's say, computers or electricity. Well, that's great if you want to work with lighting, because all of our lighting is controlled by computer. And so really, you know, if a person has an interest in theater, they, you know, can get involved, and we really encourage new people to get involved. Some people say, well, you know, it's always the same people on stage. Well, you need to have a little bit of bravery about you and a little bit of courage and audition for that show, because you never know what you bring to the table, maybe just what that director is looking for, something new and something fresh. And we had a lot of new students involved with this production and a lot of younger students as well. And that's always exciting for me, because that way I know that once they get the bug for theater, and it does kind of get under your skin, it's something that will become a major impact in their life. And we've had some students who have gone on to not only be involved in theater here in high school, but in college, and to go on and do some things professionally, and some that are planning on doing things professionally as well. So it's a great stepping stone for students.
I just love happy endings. Oh. Well, we all must go now quickly on the train to Leipzig for Leave Without Us.